Once upon a time, in a small village by the sea, there lived a fisherman named Marcus. Every morning, Marcus would wake up before sunrise, take his boat out onto the water, and cast his nets. Some days, the sea was generous, and he would return with enough fish to feed his family and sell at the market. Other days the nets came up empty, and he would go home with nothing. Marcus had a habit. Whenever things did not go his way, he complained. If the weather was bad, he complained. If the fish were not biting, he complained. If his boat needed repairs, he complained. His neighbors often heard him grumbling as he walked through the village. "Why does the wind have to blow so hard today?" he would say. "Why do the fish never come when I need them?" One evening, after a long day with no catch, Marcus sat on the beach, staring at the waves. An old man named Lucius, known in the village for his wisdom, sat down beside him. "You seem troubled, Marcus," Lucius said. Marcus sighed. "Nothing ever goes right for me. The sea is against me. The weather is against me. Even the fish are against me." Lucius nodded slowly. "Tell me, Marcus, have you ever considered that the sea, the weather, and the fish are not against you? They simply are as they are." Marcus frowned. "What do you mean?" Lucius picked up a small stone and tossed it into the water. The stone does not complain when it sinks. The wave does not complain when it crashes upon the shore. These things happen because that is their nature. The sea is not cruel when it gives no fish. It is just the sea. Marcus thought about this for a moment. "But if I don't complain, what can I do? The empty nets are still empty." Lucius smiled. "Complaining does not fill the nets. Action does. If the fish are not biting in one place, move to another. If the wind is strong, adjust your sails. If the boat is broken, fix it. The world does not change because we complain. We must change how we respond to the world." Marcus had never thought of it that way. He had always believed that his troubles were caused by things outside of his control. But Lucius was telling him that while he could not control the sea or the wind, he could control his own actions and his own mind. The next morning, Marcus went out to fish as usual. The wind was strong and the waves were high. Before, he would have cursed the weather and turned back. But this time he adjusted his sails and steered his boat to a different spot where the waves were calmer. He cast his nets and waited. That day, he returned with more fish than he had caught in weeks. His wife was surprised. "No complaints today?" she asked. Marcus shook his head. "The wind was strong, but I found a way. The fish were there, but I had to look in a different place." Over time, Marcus changed. He still faced difficulties, storms, broken nets, days without fish, but he no longer wasted his energy complaining. Instead, he focused on what he could do. If the weather was bad, he found shelter. If the fish were scarce, he tried new techniques. His life did not become easier, but his mind became stronger. One day, a young fisherman came to him, frustrated after a poor catch. "The sea is unfair," the young man said. Marcus smiled, remembering his own words from long ago. "The sea is not unfair," he said. "It is just the sea. The question is not whether the waves will be high or low. The question is what you will do when they come." The young man frowned. "But what can I do?" "Adjust your sails," Marcus said. "Move to another spot. Try a different net, or wait patiently until the storm passes. Complaining will not change the sea, but your actions might change your luck." The young man thought about this and nodded. The next day he tried a different approach and returned with a better catch. Word spread through the village about Marcus's wisdom. People came to him when they faced troubles, not because he had magical solutions, but because he reminded them of what they already knew. Complaining does not solve problems. Action does. Years passed, and Marcus grew old. His hands were rough from years of work. but his heart was at peace. One evening, as he sat on the beach watching the sunset, Lucius joined him once more. "You've changed, Marcus," Lucius said. Marcus nodded. "I stopped fighting the waves and learned to ride them instead." Lucius smiled. "That is the Stoic way. The world will always have storms. The challenge is not to avoid them, but to navigate them with strength and calm." Marcus looked out at the endless sea. He had spent years complaining about things he could not control, only to realize that the real power lay in how he chose to respond. The sea would always be unpredictable. The wind would always change. But his mind, his thoughts, his actions, those were his own. And so, the fisherman who once complained about every little trouble became a quiet example of resilience. His life was not perfect, but it was peaceful. Not because the world had become kinder, but because he had become wiser. The lesson was simple, yet deep. Stop complaining about the waves. Learn to sail.